Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the online class of economics. Today we will be continuing with the topic inflation. As last class we have learned basic causes of inflation and the meaning of inflation, the different types of inflation. Now we will be going to learn causes of inflation, in which we will be continuing with the supply factors, as we already completed demand factors in our last class, but in a revision we will be revising from the demand factors only. Supply factors, when we see students, the causes of inflations: irregular agricultural supply is there, hoarding of essential goods, rise in administered prices, inadequate growth of industrial production, agricultural price policy, rising prices of imports. These are the supply factors. Let us deal it briefly. What are the supply factors? When we go with the supply factors, students, you can see here irregular agricultural supply. You can see here with there is no fixed season of rains, and everything causing high and up. The most important is for agriculture is favorable season plus the favorable fertility of the soils that can make productivity to be high. But due to uncertain reasons, the agriculture supply is going down. There has been irregular agricultural supply due to natural factors like drought and flood situations. When there is scarcity of agricultural supply, their prices rises will lead to cost push inflations. Like now we can say the currently many farmers will get affected. The production of mangoes and other fruits of which are of now seasons, they will start growing, will get affected due to these rains and storms which are coming without any season. What will we will be facing? Agriculture supply will be less, and when the supply will be less as compared to demand, definitely this will create a inflation, that is cost push inflation. Hoarding of essential goods. It is generally observed that big farmers and traders hoard food grains. This creates scarcity and continuous increase in their prices. Likewise, even in industrial products like oil, medicines, etc., traders hoard them, and this results in cost push inflation. So, hoarding of essential goods will create a cost push inflation. So, generally it is observed with big farmers and traders with hoard the food grains, which creates scarcity and continuous increase in their prices. Rise in administered prices. There are a number of important agricultural commodities for which price level is administered by the government. Many of these commodities are produced in the public sector. The government keeps on raising prices from time to time in order to cover the losses in the public sector. This results in cost push inflations. So rise in administered prices, which will also create a particular problem. There are a number of important agricultural commodities we all know for which prices level is administered by the government only. But some of the situation when the when the government are not in favor, then the prices of the goods is increased. That is also a cost push inflation when they increases the taxes over the goods. Inadequate growth of industrial production. There has been large expansion of money supply, creating big demand for industrial goods. The rise in industrial goods has been inadequate, which has pushed up the prices of industrial products, and this has led to cost push inflations. So inadequate growth of industrial production says that there has been large expansion of money supply, creating big demand for which products? Industrial products, which gives rise in industrial good, which has been inadequate and which has pushed up the prices. Definitely when industry number will be increasing, definitely the price supply will be there but not fulfilling the demand. So there cost push inflation can arise. The raw materials will be, the demand for raw materials will be increasing as the number of industry will be increasing. In that situation, when the demand of raw material will be increasing, definitely the prices of the goods will be increasing. When inputs price will be increasing, definitely output will be having a price. And that will again create a cost push inflation. That is only the meaning, that is inadequate growth of industrial production. Agricultural price policy. Agriculture price policy. The government has minimum support price policy for agriculture products. Through this policy, the government announces the price at which it would be buying agriculture products. This ensures minimum price to farmers and completely eliminates risk. This policy largely benefits big farmers who has been pressurizing the government to raise support prices. The result is cost push inflation. So agriculture price policy is the term, student, which government has created minimum support price policy for agriculture product. We all know. Through this policy, the government announces the price at which it would be buying agricultural products, which ensures minimum price to farmers and completely eliminates the risk. Rising prices of imports. Definitely when your supply will be less in your own country, then the import prices will be higher. When the goods are not easily available at our market, it will be demanded from outside market, and definitely their prices of imports will be increasing because the things are not easily available in our country. That's why we are demanding from outside country. So during these last 2-3 decades, India has not been freely allowing imports. Rise in import prices of raw materials, machines, etc. have been the rise in the cost of production. This has pushed up prices and resulted in cost push inflation. Monetary and fiscal factors, when we come, what are the monetary and fiscal factors for growing up inflation is rising level of government expenditure. You know, the government every year they are promising so many things, and they are just going on with so many targets, and their expenditures are increasing. Parallelly, tax rate is also increasing. There has been significant rise in government expenditure since 1950 to 51. Public expenditure has risen due to rise in population, national income and employment. Three reasons are there why public expenditure is growing up. It is almost 40% of our national income. About 40% of the public expenditure is on non-government developmental activities. It has led to demand pull inflations. Deficit financing, when we say student, the government has frequently resorted to deficit financing in order to tide over the gap between public revenue and public expenditure. A small amount of deficit financing makes fund available for growth of the country, but a large amount results in demand pull inflations. So that is deficit financing, student. Deficit financing said that government has frequently resorted to deficit financing in order to tide over the gap between public revenue and public expenditure. When there is a poor financing of the government, definitely they will be raising the funds from the taxes and many other policies, which will be again increasing the inflation situation in our country. Effects of inflations, when we go up there, what are the effects of inflations? Inflation brings about changes in the tempo of economic activities and has the redistributive effects. Inflation does not hit all sections of the society alike, some gain while others lose. There are both merits and demerits of inflations. The beneficial and harmful effects of inflation on different sectors of the societies as follows. Effects on production. The beneficial effects of inflation on production is more profit. Mild rise in prices of 2 to 2.5% is desirable. It is beneficial for producers and traders. They get motivated and have an incentive to produce more goods in order to earn higher profits. Adverse effects of inflation on production are hoarding and black marketing. The traders hoard stocks of essential commodities with an idea to earn more profit in the near future. On the other hand, consumers also resort to hoarding with the fear that they will have to pay higher prices in the future. This creates artificial scarcity of goods in the market. It leads to black marketing. So hoarding and black marketing is also a reason for the, it is an adverse effect on, because people, if they will not be getting the goods because their prices are growing up and the needs are still starvation, what will be they doing? They will be doing stealing, they will be purchasing the things and selling it in a double and triple price. Black marketing they will be doing. So that are the adverse result of having an inflation situation. There is no other solution for the poor people to get their needs to be fulfilled. So they will be doing like that. Even the big traders, they will also do the black marketing by making by supply less in the market as compared to demand, so that prices will be going up and they can sell at a higher prices, just creating the inflation situation more worst. Reduces capital formation. Definitely, capital cannot be formed in a situation where the investment is very less. Inflation adversely affects the savings on the poor of the people, has a part of the people as they have to pay higher prices. With reduced savings, the process of capital formation also undergoes a serious setback. Definitely, when you will be having less saving, how could you think about the capital formation? It is very difficult for them. Production of luxurious. The resources is an inflationary situation are diverted from essential commodity to luxurious things. As a result of this diversion of resources, production adversely affects the economic system. So, production of luxuries are also causes of adverse effect of inflation. Encourages speculation. Inflation promotes speculative activities in an economy. Okay, it refers to uncertainty which is generated by a continuously rising prices Entrepreneurs find it easy to earn more profit through speculative activities rather than by increasing population. Wasteful allocation of resources, inflation generates rigidness and frictions on the smooth working of price mechanism. It results in wasteful allocation of resources. So wasteful allocation of resources is also an adverse effect of inflation. As inflation generally it creates rigidness. Rigidness means a situation which cannot be changed. And frictional, it is not changing. In the smooth working of price mechanism, as price is going on increasing day by day. Deteriorated quality. As compared to the price of the goods, if we will see the quality of the product, when the price was low, the quality was managed. But when the price is increasing, producers are not able to put an attention over the quality of the product. They are just seeing how to manage with the prices of the goods as compared to the demand of the goods. They are not paying attention to the quality of the goods, which is making its quality to be spoiled. So that will be another adverse effect of having a deteriorated quality product when the inflation situation is there. People think when they are paying more, quality must be more high, it must be increased. But instead of growing quality, what they will be feeling, the quality is going worse and worse day by day. So there is an adverse effect of this inflation. If children will be feeling, then if the quality is waste, why people will prefer? Because it is the need of the people, they will be preferring the particular good, though its quality is not good, they also know, but prices are high, that also they know, but they will be paying for it. Like now the food items which is available in the market, people say that the quality of that food products, agriculture products are not so good as it was in their time. So what we are feeling, whether we will stop purchasing? No, because no other substitute are available in the market in the place of that daily need items. So because of that, what we are seeing, that by knowing also we are in favor of that particular product whose quality is not so good. So that is the thing of the adverse effect of inflation. People knowingly going on increasing the inflation situation in their surroundings. Effects on distribution of income. About this, if we will be seeing what is the effect on the distribution of income due to inflation. Inflation has significant impact on the distribution of income and wealth of the country. Though the people income is increasing day by day, but it is not going in the savings. As the prices of the goods are increasing, all the incomes are going in the expenditures only. So it results in the redistribution of income and wealth, because prices of all the factors of production do not increase in the same proportion what we are seeing. The beneficial effects of inflation on distribution of income is on the following people. Very first, businessmen and rich classes. These sections of the society are gainers because they are not fixed salary class. So businessmen and rich classes will be feeling their income will get affected. The section of the society are gainers because in this particular period of time they will get more profit. They can earn more profit as supplying less product as compared to the demand. They can increase the price very easily and can gain lots and lots of profit. But the thing is that we are the part of the society. Again, it will be coming to us only. Debtors, there are gainers. Why there are gainers? Because debtors repay loan when inflation has set in and the purchasing power of money is lesser than what they had borrowed. So if they will be feeling that their rate of interest is very less as compared to the running market of the loan, so that way they can think and they will be the gainer. Farmers gain because there is a time gap between incurring cost and selling produce. Farmers incur less cost of production, and when they go to sell their produce, they earn profit since prices are higher. If farmers' point of view, we are seeing it is very correct for them, because when they will be producing, that time the raw materials cost is less, so they are getting less cost of production. But at the time when they will be selling, definitely 6 to 7 months time will be needed. After 7 months, what they will be finding, the raw material which they have purchased price has been increased, but at that price their cost of production they are finding less. So there are the gainers. In that sense, there are the gainers. But another year it will be continuing with the same high price. Debtors also, once again I want to explain, debtors are the gainers. If you are thinking they have to pay back money, why? How they are the gainers? Because they had taken the loan. That time the rate of interest was less as compared to the rate of interest what is fluctuating when they are paying. So that way, if we are saying there are have to pay instead of 6%, if rate of interest is running now, they a time when they taken the money they were 4%, so they are paying less. That way there are the gainers, otherwise debtors are not the gainers because they are to pay the money back. Adverse effects of inflation or distribution of income is felt by the following groups of people. Creditors, when we see creditors stand to lose as they are getting back lesser purchasing power what they had lent. Wage salary earners, when we see such people have fixed income, and with increase in price level their real income falls. This lead to fall in their standard of living. So wage salary earners, what we will find, such people have fixed income. We know salary people, wage daily basis working people, their salary is fixed. It is not increasing with the change in price. So there will be a big losers because they will be losing the most. Their standard of living will be disturbed. Consumers lose because they have to pay high price for the commodities. They are knowing the prices of the commodities was less earlier, but now it has been increased, and because of that they have to pay high to the producers or the sellers. Small investors, definitely they will be a loser. Why they will be losers? Because small investors, the small middle class investor who save money and invest in fixed deposits, lose because they have to be contented with fixed income. Policy measures to control inflation, if we see, measures to check inflation would include steps to control the growth of demand and increase agricultural and industrial supply so that balance between demand and supply is maintained. Government has made efforts to overcome inflationary situation and bring about price stability. The various measures are, very first, monetary measures or restricted availability of credits. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, is the central bank of the country, we all know. It is empowered to regulate credit creation and money supply in an economy. It is a situation of excess demand. RBI uses various instruments of monetary policy to restrict the availability of credit. In other words, credit is most costlier. The instrument of monetary policy are divided into three parts as shown in the chart below. Very first monetary measure to control inflation is quantitative instrument, second qualitative instrument, and the third moral suasion. When we go with the quantitative instruments, it raises bank rate. Okay. So quantitative instruments, when we see, these are those general instruments which affect the amount of credit in the whole country. Quantitative instruments are those selective instruments which affect the amount of credit in specific areas or regulate the direction of credit. So let us focus quantitative instruments deeply. Quantitative instruments, what we have learned, these are those instruments which affect the amount of credit in the whole economy. Whereas qualitative instruments are those selective instruments which affect the amount of credit in specific areas or regulate the direction of credit. So it is not for all. Quantitative instruments becomes bank rate policy, open market operations. Bank rate policy, when we go, we have learned CRR, SLR and all those rate which is charged by the RBI over the commercial banks. Bank rate is defined as a rate of interest at which the RBI lent to the commercial bank. Means when the commercial banks borrow the money from the Reserve Bank of India, the rate of interest which is charged by the RBI over the commercial bank for that amount is known as bank rate. In a situation of excess demand, the RBI increases the bank rates or interest rate which makes the credit dear. Credit dear means if the RBI will charge higher rate of interest, definitely commercial banks savings will become less. In that situation, they will create credit less in the market. So this is one of the quantitative instrument by which RBI can control the commercial bank to create less credit in the market, means to offer less loan in the market so that people will come in control. They will be controlling themselves to do some expenditure. People prefer to deposit in banks that their purchasing power goes down, which reduces aggregate demand. In case of deflation, RBI lowers the bank rate. Open market operations. It is defined as buying and selling of eligible securities in the bill market by the Reserve Bank of India. In a situation of excess demand, Reserve Bank of India sells these eligible securities in the possession to commercial banks, so that commercial bank cash is blocked in them and their capacity to offer loans is reduced. This is another method to restrict the availability of credit. In a deflationary situation, RBI buys these securities. So this is open market operation, student. It is defined by buying and selling of eligible securities in the bill market by Reserve Bank of India. In a situation of excess demand, Reserve Bank of India securities in the sells these eligible securities in its possession to commercial banks, so that commercial banks cash is blocked and them and their capacity to offer loans is reduced. Variable reserve ratio, cash reserve ratios and statutory liquidity ratio. There are, we have learned cash reserve ratio, which is managed by the commercial bank with the RBI. So it is defined as that portion of total deposit or demand deposit which a commercial bank is required to keep with Reserve Bank of India in the form of cash reserve. In a situation of excess demand, Reserve Bank of India raises the CRR. This will reduce the cash deposit left with the commercial bank to be loaned out. In case of deflation, Reserve Bank of India lowers the CRR. Statutory liquidity ratio SLR is defined as that portion of total deposit which a commercial bank has to keep with itself in the form of liquid assets. In a situation of excess demand, Reserve Bank of India raises the SLR. The resulting reduction in surplus cash reserve of the commercial banks, which can be offered for credit. This will discourage credit in an economy. In a deflationary situation, Reserve Bank of India lowers the SLR. So, I think these topics are clear. Quantitative instrument, qualitative instrument we will see in the next class, because if it will mix by in the same class, it will be difficult for them, you people, to understand. So, qualitative instrument and moral suasion we will learn in the next class. Today's class we have learned quantitative instrument of controlling inflation. For that, Reserve Bank of India plays a very important role with the government, has bank rate policy, and the cash reserve ratio policy is maintained by the Reserve Bank of India. At this situation, to control the inflation, they charges high bank rate as well as high CRR, so that commercial bank will stop creating credit more in the market. As more credit demand will be there in the market, rate of interest will be going up. In that situation, it will be very difficult for them to maintain the inflation. Because of that, to make the commercial bank to lower the rate of interest, what they will be doing, they will be charging high CRR and the high bank rate policy. So that is the policy made by the Reserve Bank of India. Besides that, open market operations are there. SLR is a part of SLR and CRR are the two ratio which is charged by the Reserve Bank of India. Same thing it is done by the for the SLR as they are doing for the cash reserve ratio. So this was for today's class. Next class we will go with the next measures of controlling inflation, that is qualitative instruments, and the next other topics. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.